Okay. Hi, my name is Vishal, and I work at Propylon. Suppose they gave me a lift here and pay me, so I better mention them. And we are hiring. Yes, I know this is another company. This is basically introduction to Django. Django is a web framework. If you have any really difficult questions, you can ask Michael here. He knows more about this than I do.
Smart arse in the corner.
Okay. Oh yeah, and please feel free to interrupt me at any point. It's grand, and this is going to be a fairly interactive talk. So yeah, this is what the tagline is. Django is a web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. Not a perfectionist, I just have deadlines. It's named after a musician. I didn't know that until I was preparing this talk. Jazz musicians. And Django has its origins in fast-paced newsroom environment. So when the guys were coming up with this, they needed there was nothing that would give them the same level of turnaround time, really fast. It was open sourced in July 2005, that's right, isn't it?
Although they presented it at PyCon a little bit before they open sourced it.
Okay.
And everyone's going to go and really open source it. We're going to sue.
But it wasn't. It ran in production for a while, a couple of years before then. It had been in production for maybe 2-3 years before they open sourced it. It's only at 0.96, so it still hasn't got its 1.0 birthday yet. So what's so great about it? It frees you from SQL. You don't need to worry about queries. It just frees you from that. You don't need to worry about any specific database you have to work with. You can forget about the MySQL syntax, the Postgres syntax, or SQLite. It also has, I don't have it there, but MS ADO drivers, and I believe MS SQL Server and Oracle are in the works. Well, that's what
I think Oracle's likely to become a good driver. MS SQL has got the usual problem that there's only 2 people that ever use it.
Yeah.
So it works for them.
If you're using MS SQL, there's the odds that you'll be using this. So yeah, and the idea is we just model our data using Python classes, and we can forget about the rest. So enough talk, action. Let's create a blog. We're so Web 2.0. Web 2.0 is the business. Maybe I should know. Sorry, Web 2.0 RC1. I don't know. I might get in trouble with Tim. Okay, so basic syntax is yeah. Okay. Did I just lose a slide? Hello. Okay, fine. Oh, we did this. So what do we need in our blog? We need to be able to add entries. We want to let people add comments to our blogs. It's going to be very simple. It's not going to look great. It's going to look shit, but it's just a tech demo. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to create a project, and we run this command to create our project. So admin start project demo, and it's just created this directory structure for us. So it's not much there, just a directory called demo, and it creates some of the preamble for us because it's all going to be like Python modules. We have our init. Manage gives us some stuff which I'll show you. Settings, you can guess what goes in there. And URLs, I'll talk about a bit later. Okay, so we need to edit the settings file. We're going to initialize our database. I love this because I can use SQLite, and it's great for little things, which means I don't have to, if I'm running something for my own desktop or anything, I don't have to have Postgres or MySQL running. Most of the time you don't need something really heavy, you need something, just a bog standard SQL server. So for our, okay, so grand, that's our driver we're going to use. So in this case we're going to give it the Okay, that's all we need to do for the setup for the meantime. It's fine. Okay. So we need to initialize the database now. We've done that. We can do this. We'll go in Python, manage that py that we got from initially when we create the project. It gives us some utility functions. So we can do syncdb. That's going to do some stuff. So it's created a whole bunch of tables for us. And yeah, yes, we would like to create one. Thank you. No, Vishal and password is open123. And voila. So it's initialized our database. So if you want to look at it, so as you can see, it created all of the files. So you're just using the SQLite 3 client, you just ask for the schema, and ta-da, it's done all this work already for us. Okay, so any questions so far? Have I lost anyone? Okay, so that's the first part of the magic. We totally didn't have to worry about initializing any of the database. It was done for us. So now we want an application inside our project. So we'll have to do it again. Python, manage, startup blog. What did that do for us? Let's have a look at the directory structure. It created another directory called blog, which is our application, and again we have init, models, and views. I'll get to models and views just a sec. So these are just like Python modules. So you could, in theory, just go import you could just go from demo.blog import models. So you see the kind of like the natural Python module syntax it's great. Okay, so we talked about the models, right? So what we need entries, and what we're going to have in our entries for our blog, and we just need the title and content. We're inheriting from the model class here. This is the really funky bit now, because we're going with the models. A title is a character field. It's got a default title, and we define how big it can be. Django will automatically know what type of table to create, or what type of database entry to create for it. And if I'm constructing, say, like a form, it'll know it's a character field, so it'll just be input type text, and that'll be fantastic. Less HTML to have to deal with. Isn't that great also? And again, same with content. Content goes text field, though. So that's, in HTML terms, it's just a text area. Again, it'll know what type of database table to create for our entries plus. And let's do this. I'm not the world's fastest typist, so I am going to cheat. Here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, so also we need comments in our blog, entry. So this is also very cool. So we have a usual comment, email, reply, and the entry. Now this is where it's really cool, right? So this is so we can say that comment can have foreign key association with the entry object, and that's by default. I think that's a many to one, so there can be many comments in the one entry. So again, it's gonna, because we've declared these relationships, when we sync again, when we sync the DB again, the new tables created, they will automatically have all the primary keys sorted out. We'll have the foreign keys sorted out. I mean, yeah, don't even need to know that there is a thing called SQL input, because most of the days we do is we read from a database, we display something, we write to a database. That's what and it's really boring. Got sick and tired of it a couple of years ago. It's about time somebody gave me something free to do to deal with all this. So okay, let's have a look at that models file. So same thing, we just go from Django.dp import models grant. We have please ignore anything that's commented out right now. It's exactly what we had there. It's fine. Okay. Okay, so we need to tell Django that we have this application now, so we have to put it in our settings.py. So we'll do that. So there's a bunch of installed apps by default. So we go, oh yeah, I've got another one called demo.blog. Thank you very much. Fine, we've done that. Okay, so we can have a look at what the SQL side effect is now. So this is what the SQL will be created for our blog application. We'll have a blog comment, blog entry, and it knows exactly what types of fields to create. Even if you'll see, even we don't have an ID field, Django will always create an ID field for you and make it a primary key. It's fine. Let's sync the DB. Done. Ramps up. Okay. So there's one thing, like almost all the time, any kind of application you ever write, you end up writing some kind of an admin screen because everything has to be managed. So the guys who wrote Django, they always had to do this, so they spent an awful lot of time writing this wonderful admin application, which introspects your model and does some wonderful, wonderful things. So we're just going to enable their built-in admin application. First we have to enable it in the settings. Okay. Then we have to enable our model so the admin app knows that it's supposed to deal with it. Basically, which means it's a simple case of if our model contains a class called admin, well, there are other things you can do with it. Yeah, it's really is a fun way of having a class inside a class. There are other properties you can pass to it and to customize the admin interface. But just for enabling, this is grand. Okay. And we need to add the URL for our admin app. Sorry. I'm not going into the URLs in detail just for the minute. And let's see the DB. And it's created any of the tables that were needed for the admin. So let's just run this thing and have a look at it. So there are two recommended ways to do it. Either you can run this as a mod Python application, which is very fast. The other way, which I prefer, is to run it as a fast CGI server and get mod, and then talk with Apache with mod fast CGI. Right. By default, it'll run on port 80,000. So we have a browser. Fine, we didn't specify anything for that. And we're logging as Vishal. Cool. So this is really nice. So it knows about our log application, and it knows that there are comments and there are entries. So let's just add an entry. So as you can see, it's automatically generated all the forms first. Save, done, ran. Oh, okay, let's add a comment. Just now, it knew that there is a. Hold on. Yeah.
In case anyone's worried, you can
I know
set
what.
the string properly.
I didn't.
There's the other bit of commented there.
That's the other bit of content. So if you look at this is what I did wrong.
It's strategy on wheels, you've just got a big drop down list of entry options.
This is what I did wrong. So, return as the representation of the object as its title. So, okay. Fine. I'm not worried. Woo! Yay! So my name is hello world blah blah blah. Oh yes! Because I said email was a type email, it automatically in the admin application at least knows that it can do validation on that, and so there are a whole bunch of fields. There's email fields, there are phone number fields, there's the URL field, an IP address field, and you can create your own custom fields, and you can attach validation codes to all those fields. So this is really cool. Let's just make that. Skill also, I guess. We have to have a relationship. It's grand. Cool. So if we go into comments, comment object, and yes. So this, and like I said, we get our user management stuff for free. So if you're going to users, we can go add a user. And that's just great, and there is a lot you can do. A lot. Most of the time you probably don't want to give this kind of interface to a front-end user, but it is just great for a site, for someone at a site administration level. It's just the menial tasks that you don't want to have to do. It's done for you. We have some great filtering stuff going on here, where we can go, give me all by staff status, all give me by all that are not super users. This is the admin application. Just you can spend a bit of time just going through it. It has a full users and groups model. Okay, so yes, the admin interface is great and it's glorious and it's brilliant, but we have to do something useful. Fine, so continue. Okay. So we need some more configuration. Okay. So we're going to we need templates. Templates, and I am going to be lazy again. First thing we have to do is in our settings, we have to tell it where to find our templates. Which is again just a tuple. And I can just stick in a path. So, yeah, so, okay. Any questions in the meantime? No? Okay. So we'll make our templates directory, but we're going to keep, in the templates directory, we're going to keep stuff for our blog application, so we just need to make that also. Okay. And there's nothing there, so we'll just copy stuff. So there's just a bunch of templates. So templates in Python or templates in Django has the concept of inheritance. So you can specify a base template or a main template, and then you can inherit others. The other templates can inherit from it. So in that you can define slots in there. Other templates can choose to override those slots, which is great. The Django guys talk about it, that they found in practice it takes an average of 3 levels of inheritance. So you have your base, which gives your site's overall look and feel. Then some other stuff, for example, navigation. Second level is navigation bars or whatever else, and the third level is where your main content block resides. But we're only going to have just the first level of inheritance. We're just going to, based on, we're going to inherit it for our to view. So just have a look at. So that's how we define our block. We have a block, and it's called main content, and then end block. So anything in say in parenthesis percent will be interpreted by our engine. There's also another type of enclosing I'll show you in a sec. So if you look at, say, index. So we go here. Here's the extends blog/base/blog/base.html, because we said our template directory is in our app just templates. So it knows it has to look there, but we have to stick in this another bit of path information. So this is how we override our block. We just go again block main content. So we're inheriting from base, and we're gonna override main content. And here's the other special type of template. So we could have curly braces percent, or we have 2 curly braces. Anything inside 2 curly braces is interpolated. So that will just be replaced with whatever variable is inside the 2 curly braces. Anything confusing, not making sense? Feel free to stop me. Okay.
This is a template language used.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a known custom template language.
Sorry?
The language used inside the templates, like a for loop, for example, that's a known.
Yeah, it's just a.
Django's its own.
Is it its own, or did they inherit it from somebody?
No, they wrote their own, and but every percentage tag, like curly brace percentage, is a template tag, and those are all defined just as Python functions. So basically, what happens is you can add your own to all those tags that you see are just standard Python functions. You can add your own to extend.
So it's somewhat like Smarty for PHP, except this is
a little bit like it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the other thing about the template language, which is very nice, is it's just it's string manipulation. It's not a HTML or XML aware one, so you can use it for anything, which is a.
So it'll do XML, XHTML, whatever. But even just if you wanted, instead of writing a web app, you could just as easily write something, email, CSV, whatever. Anything that's just text-based, the templating language will cope with. Like I spend a lot of my time with Zope template pages, and there's an interesting argument that the Django developers make is XML is for machines, not for humans, and it's a crime against humanity to make humans edit XML.
I think the other thing that they were talking about, one of their big motivations when they designed it, is they said we're not going to embed a Python interpreter in every page. You don't get any Python expressions at all. So the idea is that they aim the template language purely at people who are good designers, fairly web savvy, might know some PHP or something like that, but are not necessarily Python programmers. And the idea is all the grunt work is done in the Python code, and then just hands off a bunch of variables and got some sample tags.
It's not designed to survive a round trip with Dreamweaver, as ZPT is.
can you substitute another template language in there
Yeah.
instead?
Yeah.
And that's the great thing in Django. You can substitute just about every piece of it. If you
Yeah.
don't like the way it does templates, fine, throw it away, use another bit. You don't like the way it does session handling or anything, throw it away, use your own. While it's great if you do use it because it integrates so well and works really well together, and you get a lot of stuff, the grunt work done for you, but nothing is actually forcing you. You have to go that way. I suppose it's kind of the opposite route from Turbo Gears.
Yeah.
Whereas
Turbo Gears is kind of flexible too, but
But the Turbo Gears is too flexible, as in you must choose your own.
I mean, I think when you see views, you see how easy it is just to swap in your own template things. Because you can. I mean, I've used it with Genshi and a few other templating languages, and I've also used different database backends. I've mixed it in with XML RPC and so other stuff. So there's really no major restriction. The only thing I've always used is the URL stuff because I really like that the way it works.
It is nice. So, speaking of which, let's talk about URLs. Okay. So let me cheat again. Okay. So this is the one. So we're at where we were. So okay. Remember how we can't, if we went to the root of the site. Oh yeah. What we talk about round server. Sorry, don't mind the font. I'm just gonna use this to run the server. Yay. Okay. That's fine. But it doesn't know what to do with the root of the site just yet. So that's because in the URLs, all we've told it is about is admin. So it knows about the admin URL. Oh shit, how did that?
Did you just make something?
I think I did. Quickly, can you bail me out?
Sorry, I was going to copy this.
Did you save
Did you
it
save
when
that?
you uncommented the admin one?
Yeah, I think you didn't save it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Right, so yeah. And what we're supposed to see, yeah, the 404. Because we haven't defined anything that's supposed, it doesn't have a pattern. The way the URLs work is they're all based on patterns. So if it can match a pattern, it'll execute the associated Python code. So we have to provide a pattern for dealing with. This is the pattern. So dealing with the index view. So when you go to the index of the site, there's nothing there. So fine, we'll have to give it a view. And this is what Nick was talking about. You can pretty much, include any. This is a similar URLs.py in the admin application, which is getting included, which is defining a set of rules based on which will get executed if the admin pattern is found. So anything / and then whatever it gets shoved into the URL patterns for a match. So we're gonna write a little view to handle the index.
So wait, it's just a regular expression and then a Python method.
Yeah, regular expression and associated Python code.
So that Python method would be anything in your path.
Anything, yeah. Anything in the Python path.
Also, newer versions of Django, you can just put a import a function, just put it directly in there. So you don't even need to specify a path.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty flexible.
So that's how you can use pretty much any templating language you
Yeah.
want.
You can use anything really.
Yeah, and this is why, the important thing is when you're doing any kind of, say, public-facing site is the URLs have to be consistent. Because sooner or later, even if you don't realize it, people are going to start using some service to provide. And you think no one's using it, you change some URL, it'll break an awful lot of the people. This is especially true if you're working in any kind of public sector work. Once your public contracts with the world, can't break them.
Another nice aspect of URL, because it's regular expressions, it's very easy to take an old application that's like Crufty Perl or CGI Bin or PHP, and you can just create regular expressions to map all the old URLs to the new handlers, and you get no breakage whatsoever, which is very nice.
So yeah, you can have all your pages in them .php, and now you can use this.
That's some sort of sick joke.
Well, yeah, sick jokes can be funny sometimes. Okay, so we've done that. Right, need to create. We don't actually have a view, so and essentially we have to create our own view. That's fine. We can be lazy again. Okay, so whole bunch of imports. It doesn't matter, not important right now. We can ignore it for the minute. So what's important is we're creating our index method, and every method in your view will always have a request object. So
Stick my oar in. Are you going to show the shortcuts at all?
I am.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, not the render to template one. No.
That's a nice one to show them.
Yeah. But I'm paying for both.
Yeah. It's just you can basically replace all of that with sort of one line if you want.
I'll show generic view.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can pretty much replace all of this because it is just so very simple in what this function includes. Loading a template, we're grabbing a list of all our objects. So if when you see entry.objects.all, that would be, SQL that's getting translated in the back as SQL as select star from entry. And that's the results that's going into entry list. The context request, just another method. All it's doing is interpolating, giving us a request object and adding another our own dictionary of variables that we're going to pass into templates. That's all that's really happening there. And then this is where all the interpolation happens with the template. And just a HTTP response object which knows how to send back a proper header and stuff. So we have that. It's grand. Okay. Save. And yes. Okay. So any questions? Have I lost anyone? Anything not make sense?
That last.
So, okay, which better would you like to?
Views.
So,
I think okay.
yeah, so, okay, remember in the URL, right? All we did was say, oh yeah, empty coming in goes to demo.block.views.index. So, in the views file, the index method. That's all.
Could you just show how that the passing the entry list works in the template?
Yeah. So okay, all we did was we passed in the dictionary, which had a entry list, and it had a which was a list type. So we can just go for entry, usual Python syntax, blah blah blah. We can do the interpolation here, and then again because the list is the list of all the entry objects. So if you remember from our model, they're all going to have an ID field and a title field. Remember I said even though we didn't specifically declare that the entry model had an ID, Django will stick it in for us anyway. Just trying to be nice.
So that's just going through the list of entries and then pulling out attributes from each entry object.
Yeah. Nothing too complicated. Okay, that's done. So that worked, but our view method is not going to work right now because we haven't written that as well, so it's a bit more complicated there. So let's have a look at that. Okay. So, eq. Right. It's verbose. And that's it. Thankfully, it's just big enough. It fits in one screen. So what we want to do was when we click on something, we would like to see that entry. We need URL again. We need to go to our URLs, and we need to that pattern. We need something to handle that pattern. Okay, so this is going to handle that pattern. So go anything starting with entry. This is cute. This is so very cute. So we're grabbing, we're grouping, and we're saying this is more Django convention, I suppose. The question mark capital P means this, whatever this grouping is going to be a parameter, and that parameter's name is going to be this, and this is what should be captured by that group. So this is Django specific
It's
stuff.
actually a straight regular expression. That's
But-
a
Python.
It's the funky syntax, but that's actually a normal regular expression. They haven't extended it at all.
Well, no, but I know, but this is convention. This is all
Yeah.
sorry, that's all I'm trying. That bit is just convention.
Can you also just do like regular groupings and then go?
No,
first
well, if you
grouping,
want to
second?
pass them to somewhere,
Yeah.
the cute thing happening is here is with that question mark P and angle bracket blah, right, followed by the expression, it's going to capture that whatever gets captured, give it that, call it that, and pass it straight to our method.
Oh yeah, in the view. But can you do it by just doing, say, instead of having to name each grouping, just go in the view? Could you just say the first grouping, the second grouping, the third grouping?
I don't know.
I'd say it just applies them, but I honestly don't know why you wouldn't want to name them.
Yeah, I
I've
don't know
never,
either.
ever
I haven't
named
had
them.
that. Sorry,
I'm just lazy.
For all I know, it could blow up spectacularly, but I'm guessing it probably will. But the advantage of naming them is that it passes them in as keyword arguments,
yeah.
so it just works all the time.
Exactly, because when you're requesting, I don't know if
Because one of the reasons you want to name them is you might have multiple URLs which call the same view.
so. If you look at how are you going to pass them in, your method will want a parameter list, and it's good if you can name them so you can pass them in.
Okay.
I don't know. It just sorry. Try it.
Your implementations on
Hmm?
there. When you encounter this implementation,
Uh oh. What did I do?
data is equal, yeah,
Oh yeah.
no, data one.
I think
That's
data needs to
another way
be
there.
Oh. Okay. Ah yes. Sorry. Thank you. That's not right, is it? No, it is.
No, it
yeah.
is.
Yeah. Correct. Okay. Thank you. So that's it. We're just defining that. We can define our little group. We can we'll tell we can tell Django what that group is supposed to be called, and it knows what method to pass it to. Okay, so going back. Going back to it. So yeah, that's the same thing again. We're going to grab the template. More SQL. So we pass in our entry IDs. From the entry objects, we can go give it this very rich API for all the DB access. It's pretty well documented on the Django homepage, djangoproject.org or .com, even, djangoproject.com. And so we can go, yeah, entry objects get ID equal to entry ID. So that's basically, you know, select star from entry where ID equals entry ID. It's equivalent SQL there. So we can grab our entry object that we're interested in, but we also want to display the comments. We can go comments filter, objects filter. So this is all just translates to SQL. And the great thing is, well, I don't have to do any SQL here, but if there's some, you know, some really specific, I know I can optimize this bit of SQL really well. There's nothing really stopping me from doing that. There are ways to just hook in your own SQL.
So
Sorry, do you find yourself doing that a lot? Writing your custom SQL?
No.
No.
Most of the times I do is just bog standard stuff. Would you happen to? Well, you code more Django than I do.
Never had to write custom SQL. The only thing I've done is I've used SQL Alchemy instead of Django's one because well, apart from the fact I already had the SQL Alchemy code written, I had a legacy database, so it was easy to map in SQL Alchemy. But again, I've never written any custom SQL in that either. So
it's pretty sane in the SQL. Like what they've written is for the SQL to map their the API that maps to their SQL,
I
right?
think the way they do joins is very nice.
I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at the hood.
So you could do it use the, say if you wanted to, if you didn't have the entry object at that point, you could go comments to objects that filter, and you could do then entry _id exact equals and the id, and it'll pull all the comments matching that. Do a join across the entry object.
Yeah, the API is it's big. I'm relatively new to Django. I only pretty much look up what I need to do, and that's it.
Does the main interface work with SQL?
Sorry?
Does the main interface work with SQL?
There was a guy, Robin Dunn, who was going to integrate SQL Alchemy with Django, but I think he didn't have to, he was doing it working at the time. At the moment it doesn't, but they're doing a big refactor of the interface to use their new form system. So I'm not sure what's going to shake out of that one. That's the drawback when I use SQL Alchemy, I lose the admin interface. So it's, at the moment you have to use their own models for the admin, but if you're putting something together really quickly, you've got everything you need in the box in Django. So it's really when you start straying to more esoteric requirements that you can start swapping bits in and out.
Most of the time it's just convenient just to use their stuff, and you might have to get used to doing things their way slightly, but it's worth it.
But generally, because they've been using it for long enough and enough sites, they've usually encountered the problems you're going to encounter at some point in the past. So they've got something in there to handle it.
Okay, so please ignore this block for a second. Okay, just ignore that. I'll continue. So we grab our entry, we grab our comments to our entries, and we do the same thing again. We have constructing the request context, and this is the variables that we're passing in the entry objects, the entry comments, and I'll get back to form in a sec. And we're just interpolating that again with the template and spitting it back out with the appropriate headers. So it should do something. Oops, indentation error.
Oh, the return looks like it's out. Needs to be in more space.
The
return statement needs to be spaced in a little more.
Thank you. So that was great. We got our blah and hello said whatever. If you look at the template again. So it's a bit more convoluted, but so we went entry.title, entry.content. Comments was a list of all the comments objects. For all the comments object, the author said whatever. Okay, so we've done that. So going back to all the other steps that I told you to ignore. We want to be able to add comments to it. For that we needed a form. So Django is in the process of revamping the entire form generation loop, which is conveniently enough at the moment is called new forms. I'm using old forms. So if you wanted to use new forms, it'd be from Django import new forms as form.
It is much nicer, the new stuff.
What drove me from it was decoupling itself from the model, which we can talk about at the top.
That's a bug.
That's good talk.
I like it because I started using it without realizing it, and then just realized rewritten half my stuff as new forms, and I was very happy about it.
So, okay. So because most of the time, like I remember I said, most of the time we read stuff from database, okay, we also write stuff from database. So, which is the same, it's the same, insert, update, select, boring. For that, what we have is all our objects have manipulators. We have add manipulators, we have edit manipulators. So we're just looking at the add one here for a second. So we're going manipulator is equal to comment or add manipulator. Now we didn't implement this, but remember the comment object inherits from models.model. So this is more introspection stuff.
I think they're planning to add the same stuff to new forms because they're rewriting the admin interface to use new forms as well. So
yeah.
Because the admin interface uses this stuff to generate the interface.
Dynamically generate the interface.
When
So
will new forms be finished?
Well, it is finished. It's just they're rewriting all the old stuff to use it.
All right.
And eventually, all forms will get ejected.
so yeah, so I'm grabbing a manipulator instance, going by give me the add manipulator. It's fine. So we're going if request.method is equal to post means we did post something here. So we'll deal with creation. The first thing we do is we copy all the variables that came inside the post. Second thing, we need to convert all the variables that went into post so our manipulator can handle them. So doing this do HTML to Python data is this is where if you had your own this is where all the validation stuff would happen. But I don't have any validation code in my template, so even if you enter the email wrong, it won't show it nicely. So you have to have validation of there has to be hooks in the template to look for the errors and the validation stuff. So this is where all the validations happened. Fine, we didn't come across any errors. So we're going to construct a new comment object by just going manipulator save data please, which gives me a brand new comment object. Done. Fine, we can just go, just redirect to where I came from. I've saved it. All done. And that's all there was. So this is the old forms now. Where this is how we create the forms from the old forms anyway. I suppose it's useless given new forms is so popular.
The nice thing about new forms is a lot less code to write there, and it generates all the forms for you and the error messages and everything automatically. So it works out as a lot less code, even if it doesn't automatically generate a form for you, because you can write them quickly enough.
So instead of having to what I have to do in the template next, we'll just go something like form.render.
You just go form as table, as list,
as
field, and it
so
renders a form.
So in the form wrapper, I give it my manipulator object, so it knows it's for a comment. So it'll create a whole bunch of fields for me. If in the previous, if I happen to pass any data in, which was for error handling and the errors, which we're not really dealing with. So again, I'm just passing in the forms object in the dictionary to the template. So let's have a look at the template. So this is the form, right? So we're submitting to ourselves. So this is because we said the form, the wrapper is tied with the comment object. I can just go form.author. I don't have to specify, what type. Is it text area? Is it just a text field or an integer field? If I add the additional validation stuff, if I put my email address wrong, it'll know about it. So since email is just a text field, it gives us, it's just creating the appropriate input types for us. And code. And it's done some nifty stuff because it was taking its own ID and classes and any questions? No? Everything's perfectly clear? Cool.
Can I ask just a quick question about the back area, the template language? rich is that? Is it?
It's the thing is you can extend it. All like Michael was saying, anything inside you see the curly brace percent, all those things, right? They're all you can create your more ones I'll defer this to you and explain this better.
Yeah, you can create template tags, which basically there's a kind of parser and you get these tokens in and you can add your own stuff. The other thing that you didn't show, which is really cool, is the filters.
Yeah.
Vertical bar filters, like Unix pipes. So basically, wherever you see the double curly brace, you can, when you have say comment.author, you can do a vertical pipe, and there's all these bunch of filters you can use. You want to write yourself as
capitalize,
date, date formatted, whatever you want.
These filters, you define yourself again?
No, it comes with about 50 of these, and it comes with about 20 tags, and you can define your own as well. And it's the ones that, out of the box it comes, it's
pretty rich.
Yeah.
It's because they've been using it for so long already. They cover 90% of the cases.
I think because again you can't write Python code in here, and the designers would keep coming back to them going, oh, I want to do this. They force them to write tags, and it forces them to make it reusable. So they write the tag once, and then they just reuse it then. So it was a very deliberate decision by them not to have Python code or logic or templates. So that it forces them to write reusable code. I've written about 2 filters and 3 tags, and they were for very specific cases where I wanted a template tag which printed out a particular object in a very complex table. So I just simply had tag my table and the object and printed it all for me.
I've yet to need a custom filter. The most common one I use is upper capitalizer. It's just the basic stupid stuff.
Sorry, just to understand, like the tags they give you by default are really limited, though. They don't have much logic there in the template.
Well, you can do an awful lot with them, but you can't write. It's not a full kind of complete programming language in the template, so you can't write, say, full Python expressions. So that they put deliberate constraints on it, so you can't do things like you basically can't write your app in a template because you need something to pass in data and to do stuff for you. But they're very complete. That for loop, for example, you get all sorts of freebies with it. Like it tells you if you're the first iteration of the loop, or the last one, or what the count is at the time. So you can number lists and you can do all sorts of things. And you also get.
It can tell you if it's the odd or even one. If you're the common one is if you're creating some kind of a printout or something, you want to color the odd and even lines differently. So you can do that very easily. There's
the regroup tag, which is great.
I haven't used that one.
Regroup is brilliant. So say you have a list of Python objects. A good example, say in the blog entries, say you wanted to print a month index of it and you wanted to have it for each day of the week. You had the date, then list all the entries in that date, and then the next date and all the entries in that day. You can just simply do regroup entries by date, and then you just simply go for group and groups, and then you just do h1 group dot type or whatever it is, and then for entry in group list you can do that, and it's very powerful. So you can do an awful lot with the tags they've given you, and I've only had to write my own for very specific cases.
You won't need to. There's a lot there.
I was trying to do something like I was trying to iterate through dictionary of dictionaries, and it gets a bit tricky there because the references now I didn't spend too long on it, but the referencing it uses, you only use the dot notation, so it doesn't know.
Well, the dot
gets a little.
If you want to iterate through dictionaries, you really want to be iterating through a list of dictionaries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the dot notation actually will let you. It will map it to either a attribute of the object, a key in a dictionary, and you can even do .0, .1 for list objects as well. But that's kind of unusual. It used to map it to a function call at the end of it all, but they took that one out because that drove people nuts. Because most people didn't really want that. But it's pretty. I find the template language quite nice, and I don't gnash my teeth.
I'd say it's very complete.
It's designed, I presume, to force all the logic into the views.
Yeah, that was very
just simple.
And if you find you needed something reusable, you wrote a template tag, which isn't that hard for a lot of stuff. Because they have the nice thing. One thing you can do is come up with an inclusion tag where you can write a template tag which calls out to another template and renders it based on the parameters you pass into that, and then passes it back in again to a template. So you can, I mean, that's how I did my fancy table thing, because actually what I was doing was just calling out to another template, which, another view type thing, which sort of fitted with the data, got it laid out the right way, passed it into my other template, rendered that, and then passed it back in again. So, you had essentially, 100 lines of template and 20 lines of code encapsulated in one line or a tag that could be used about 20 places. So, it's very powerful.
Okay, so yeah, the other thing I didn't mention was, since we did have a foreign key relationship between comments and entry. So when we're creating the comment, because it has an attribute called entry, we can just go name entry and values the ID of the entry, and the form slib will understand all of that, or sorry, the manipulator will understand all of that, the admin manipulator will understand all of that and take it into consideration and do all the good work for us, so even less work. So any other questions on the templating stuff? This is an introduction, not advanced master class.
It's one line replacement. I never use the full syntax.
It's an introduction. They're being verbose on purpose. Okay. We just did that. Okay, generic views. Most of the time is, display, create, edit, the same old boring data. Django has generic views for this. So we're going to replace the index method with a generic view. We can do all of this just from the URLs of py. So we're going to replace this guy right here. So all of this. So if you remember in terms of code, so that's the index method here. I know it doesn't do much. It is so. It would do even less. So yeah, generic views. Sorry, screen wrap. So generic view again, just so we're going from Django's views, generic, simple, direct to template. All I need to do is pass it some variables, tell it which template to use, and my own custom variables if I need to pass any. So for which I was just going to go. Just and then thank you. So from demo blocks, models, import entry, grab list of all the entries objects, and so they wrote all the code for us. Now there's similar code for all the edits and updates also, which will actually, while I know it doesn't look like saving us much in terms of code in the example here, but it's very, it's just basics and simple.
Is the database archive view. That's
Yeah.
really nice. It breaks the, you can do a /2007/01 type date hierarchy, and it just does the whole thing for you. It's really nice. And it paginates the results as well, which is really nice.
It's all built in. So yeah, this was the simplest one. This is actually the simplest one. So hell, it even has simple in it. So direct template, all we tell it, which template to use, and in extra content or extra context even. It wasn't working for me for ages. I kept spelling it as extra content. Saying, why isn't it working? It's like, no, context, extra context, and we just pass in a list of, we just pass in a dictionary which contains our custom values that we're going to use in our template.
Should just go back to that for 1 second.
Will that not get rendered at the import?
That's what I was just going to point out. It's not, what actually happens there is very clever. When you do a query like that, or a filter, or whatever you do, you get back a query object. and it's only when you iterate over that object does it actually execute the SQL. So the neat property of that is you can define the query once, and it doesn't do the query until it gets rendered in the template. So that works.
It's not. You're not going to get to the end of the. Run the view once.
No.
When the view, when you access it, it'll redo the thing from scratch each time.
It is when the rendered template happens. Sorry, I should have pointed that out.
But the nice thing about it is that you can do that and get away with it and not realise actually something very fancy has just happened under the hood.
Well, that sounds cool.
It's pretty good. Like you can do something like this. We're sitting here and I don't know how long would it take if we were doing this from scratch, say using
direct SQL.
Yeah, it would take at least an hour. So now I know it's taken a bit of time, but I have been talking a lot.
I've been butting in.
And we have been butting in. That's okay. That was the idea. We always wanted you to butt in. So that still works. Our index view is still working. We have that. We've commented out the pointing at my screen. Is that going to do any good? So we have commented out we're not using our custom view anymore. We're just using the generic view where we define whatever here. And I didn't have to do it here. It's just tidier. You could have all just done it in here, I suppose. Does that make sense? Not make sense? Yes, no, maybe? Yes, okay. Okay. So forms libs is not the greatest, so that's why they're rewriting it.
Well, they've rewritten it.
They're rewritten it. My personal thing is I like forms lib to be highly coupled with the model, but the Django guys seem to be going with let's decouple everything.
In fairness, it's something that got me as well. It depends what you're doing. It's got on those. If you might work your entire time using it and never bump into issues where you want to decouple it, but I think the intention is that you have a method that you just run, it'll pop the form back out of your model, so you get that coupling back again. But it's pretty nice.
Any questions?
Do you know when you had the admin interface and it was doing the automatic for the email addresses, it was automatically checking, but the new forms model, can you?
Yes,
is that easy?
It does.
Yeah, the only reason my view didn't do that because I didn't have the ancillary code in my template to catch and display the errors.
Oh, right.
Remember,
it's as simple as just doing double round bracket form.errors, form dot, email dot errors. But in the new forms, you don't even have to do that. You just go form as table or as key and render it for you.
So this is where I remember the errors, right?
Yeah.
If that had gotten passed into the, I'm gonna keep pointing into the laptop screen. If this contained anything and I had the template code for it, it would do all the validation stuff for us. And if you're not happy with the validation, just in our model we can write a new one.
So you could have your own, say, validator for usernames where you are insisting people use certain strings.
Yeah. New forms has that as well.
Brilliant. That's it. If we don't have any more questions, let's go to the pub.
Show the shortcuts. Just
I don't have it.
I can write it for you. I'm going to show the shortcuts.
They are great.
Oh, fine. Go on. At this point in time, Michael will let take over. I honestly just can't read the import string. Oh, right, yeah. When it responds. It replaces the entire index method, basically with one line.
Yeah, well, let's go with the index method. So let's control this out. You get your own hash key.
Yeah, I know, I'm not very spoiled. I have my own.
That's why the Lenovo's cost so much.
Hash is a volunteer.
I'm not having clothes. In the right place.
Just a matter of getting used to it.
It has some nice shortcuts for the really repetitive stuff.
It's because they didn't want to have to keep coding it every single time.
They're very lazy. To be honest.
They are.
Which is my programming philosophy. I fully agree.
Yeah, I think everyone here agrees with that.
So that's the shortcut approach. So basically, that will grab the template and render it for you, and you can pass in the stuff.
Variable.
And if I so if I get rid of the generic view again, just back in again, you should get a nice exception if I've already typed it on.
Firefox.
Oh yeah, so you totally get a nice exception. And you get the same page, proving nothing really.
Proving that all my time spent editing XML templates has made me want to write everything in verbose.
Generally, when you were doing like a render to response, would it not be easier to just use a generic view and do it from the URLs rather than bothering?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of generic views, but the nice thing, I think why this is a very good way to show it is that you see that Django doesn't impose a huge amount on you, it just comes with a lot out of the box.
Yeah.
So all you really have to return is something, a HTTP response object with some stuff in it. And so you can use any templating system, you can call SOAP stuff, you can, do XMRPC, whatever you want. So
it has great sane defaults.
Yeah.
That's what I really like when the defaults are really sane.
I mean, it's actually, and the documentation's very good. That's one thing that
I was actually surprised at that.
Yeah, the book they're writing is very good, and the docs they do on the site. And they said one of the things that stops them, like the new forms, one of the reasons they didn't release it sooner was they didn't have docs up to the spec they wanted. And they're still not happy with the docs, but the point is that they're saying the docs are one of the most important things in the project.
How close are they to one?
I think they still got some Unicode issues there.
The Unicode stuff's going to get worked out.
Before the 1.0 release, so Unicode rocks. You have to pay your debt to the Unicode gods, otherwise they will make your life hell.
And just to be clear, you don't have to restart the server when you change any of the code.
No, none of
the text changes automatically.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. But no. This is
good question.
I was just wondering, it's been a couple of months since I actually last had a look at Django, but at the time it had support for introspecting an existing application.
Yeah, you can do that. You can introspect.
Have any of you guys actually used it?
Your monitor that is really going to vary.
I haven't used it.
The thing I have in mind was a moderately well-written mod Python application. It has a similar loosely coupled, in most places apart from some odd exceptions, semi-model view concept and all that stuff. It would be nice to add things to it that life's completely missing.
Well, the introspection only works in the database stuff. You don't touch the code. I found one thing about the models is you can specify all the table names and all the column names in the fields. So that way, while you might get free introspection, free generation, at least you can use an existing database.
Is it practical to use?
An existing app?
Yeah.
How much of a deal would it be to migrate? If it's a huge deal to migrate, then you could.
Parts of it are fine, and other parts of it are unspecialized. And I was hoping that, if I had time to wrangle into Django, you could import existing stuff from.
Yeah, I mean, you can see from here you can just import bits of Django into the app. The only thing that you absolutely have to have is the Django settings module variable pointing to some settings Python files so that Django can do things like find its templates or its database. But you can import any bits you want and use those, so you can mix it in with something else.
It's a great step away from the model view control to model template view. It's that's their phrase of use. You model, you have templates, and you have views, rather than the usual of model view control.
It's also very fast.
With mod Python it's the fastest with mod Python, but with regards to if you had changes, it requires a restart in mod Python.
That's a production mode anyway.
Yeah.
Do you
So
have any tips for making it, if you're running it with mod Python, like, if for example your app happened to have a bit of latency for every
If you have, I mean, it comes with a full caching framework as well, so you can, you've got like, you can just set a few settings in the settings file, which will turn on caching site-wide, and then you've got a bunch of decorators. You can decorate individual functions to turn on caching, and then finally you can dip into a low-level caching thing and push and get objects out of that. And you can use different backends like memcached, database files in memory.
Squid is also.
Squid, well, you can front it with Squid as well. But I mean, that's what they use in their production sites. So Washington Post and that would be using that kind of caching framework,
Right.
and that gives you a huge win because with very little code you can speed up your site dramatically.
The other great thing is since hardware is cheap, it'll scale at any point you want it to. If you want to scale at the serving end, it's fine. You know, just stack it, scale horizontally at any level.
So I mean, typically what they'd have is they'd have a stack of Apache servers with mod Python, which again would have a stack of Python processes, and then they'd front that with Squid or something. They'd have a round robin, and then they'd be using memcached, which is shared across all the Python servers to cache all the object requests. So they can turn out. They've never had a site fail on them due to performance reasons.
I've been slashed out of
They've taken the whole brunt of everything. The Washington Post, as I was saying, is using Django now for a lot of their customizable apps. And if you go to any of their kind of like timelines of presidential, presidents or things like that, they're all written as Django apps that they plugged into their site.
It is just great for having a really fast turnaround. Can't really think of anything else in terms of introduction anyway. As the guy said, the documentation is the greatest. And pretty much Google search is your friend on the site.
The docs are very good. I mean, it's very much the kind of project you can actually just pick a section in the docs that's relevant to whatever you're looking at and just read it, and you'll pick up an awful lot. Like you'll see a lot of things that you didn't think of, and they'll point things out for you.
Actually, the documentation.
Everything I've just covered is in the beginner's tutorial. That's all. It's from the first 3 chapters of the tutorial, and that's all I've covered. There's tons of material there, and it's just time. You just need a bit of time to just read it. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks very much.